Yo, this story is insane.
Now to the 32-year-old woman accused of posing as a high school student. She faces new charges after pretending to be a traumatized child while collecting a salary as a Massachusetts social worker.
We're learning new information about the woman accused of pretending to be a student at 3 different high schools in Boston. As WBZ's Christina Rex reports, investigators believe she may have been involved in other crimes.
This is Shelby Hewitt in her Sharon High School yearbook 16 years ago. She's now 32 years old, charged with forgery and identity fraud for enrolling in and attending 3 different Boston public schools in the last year.
Now, this is Shelby Hewitt. She's a former social worker for the Massachusetts Department of Children and Family. Now, Hewitt graduated both college and graduate school, and she worked as a social worker for the state. Now, while she was working for the social worker of the state, she began doing strange things like creating fake student accounts for some crazy reason.
Prosecutors allege while Hewitt was working as a social worker at the State Department of Children and Families, she created multiple names and dates of birth for herself and several fake social workers to spread a false narrative she was an extremely traumatized child with significant special educational needs.
Now, for some unknown reason, Hewitt decided to use those fake accounts that she created to enroll in 3 separate Boston public schools, posing as a troubled teenage girl.
Investigators say last year, 32-year-old Shelby Hewitt enrolled in 3 separate schools, presenting herself as a teenage foster child as young as 13, going by the names Daniela and Ellie.
In reality, the defendant was a woman in her early 30s who had attended both college and graduate school and was employed as a social worker.
Now, this woman went full insane. She started attending classes with children, even making friends and becoming part of their social group. Here's what some of the teens said.
16-year-old Janelle Lamont says she befriended Hewitt in school when the pair had 3 classes together. She says she suspected Hewitt had some mental health troubles because she'd have outbursts in class, but never suspected she was a different age.
I was definitely shocked, and my friends were definitely upset because we accepted her as just like one of us.
The 32-year-old Canton woman is accused of posing as a 16-year-old and then a 13-year-old and attending multiple Boston public schools for the last academic year.
Very betrayed.
This teen befriended her at Burke High School. She says they had class together and talked on the phone often.
She just kind of seemed normal, like nice, sweet, quiet.
Now, Hewitt was thankfully discovered because they went a little too far. See, there were people who are helping Hewitt in this particular scheme, which is another crazy part about it we haven't talked about. But the condo that she was living in, the owners of that condo posed as her parents and then had the nerve to call the school saying that their daughter was being bullied at the school. And school officials became a little suspicious of the charge.
We were at the condo as school officials visited last week. No one answered, but according to city and court records, the owners of the condo are the same people who told school officials they were her parents. Police say the fraudulent scheme unraveled after the man who said he was Hewitt's father claimed he was withdrawing her because of the bullying that his daughter was receiving at school. The school officials grew suspicious because she just enrolled the previous week.
So after the authorities started looking into this new student, they discovered the truth. Hewitt wasn't a imposter.
Boston public school officials alerted authorities this summer after administrators discovered a DCF form had been filled out incorrectly and the social worker listed on the form was not actually an employee there. Prosecutors say Hewitt didn't act alone. She had 2 purported foster parents, one of whom is another social worker.
Now, the part that bothers me is that she didn't do this alone. There were a lot of other people helping her do this scheme. Even other social workers were helping her pretend to be this young girl. I don't know why. My questions are, what was their end game, right? Why were they doing?
Maria, the big question here has been why? Why would this woman pretend to be a high school student? That question was not answered today.
What was actually going on here?
Your Honor, that investigation is ongoing.
Prosecutors still have not revealed why 32-year-old Shelby Hewitt allegedly pretended to be a Boston high school student, attending classes at Jeremiah Burke, Brighton, and English high schools over the course of the last year.
The why
will be answered. But again, as I mentioned in court, this is a young lady who's got severe mental health challenges.
Hewitt's attorney says she's been getting mental health treatment since the alleged scheme unraveled last month.
Mental health issues, right? Now, I would buy that for her because this is like crazy. But what about all the people helping her? Did they have mental health issues too? Like, that doesn't make sense when you have this conspiracy of all these people helping this woman commit fraud and do all these things, pretending to be a student, calling the school on her behalf. Like, it's my daughter, she's being bullied. Do all of them have mental health issues? Were they playing along with her mental? Like, it doesn't make any sense. So the police didn't believe that mental health stuff. Hewitt was charged with multiple felonies, forgery, and here it is from the news report.
Hewitt pleaded not guilty this week to 9 counts, including felony forgery, identity fraud, and larceny. Her attorney insists she was never a danger to anyone.
She's a person who's had a lifelong history of mental health challenges. She's in treatment, and she's working towards making herself a better person.
Now, another interesting part is bail reform didn't help her because she was released on $5,000 bail. They gave her bail, and she had the condition that she had to avoid all schools and minors because we got to figure out what the hell were you guys up to.
Now, Hewitt was released on $5,000 bail today. She's now been ordered to stay away from all schools.
Now, let's just keep it real here. Something else is going on here. This is deeper than just this woman saying, I just had mental health issues, that's why I wanted to do this. No, I don't believe that at all, right? If she acted alone and she was just doing this and she just slipped through the cracks at home, okay, fine, done, right? I believe I could buy that. But this was an elaborate conspiracy. This had multiple players. The owners of the condo pretending to be a parent, the social worker in the background forging all the documents and stuff like that, right? That's a lot of suspects. So I don't believe that this woman was just doing this because she was mentally ill, unless you could tell me all these other people were mentally ill. As I mentioned before, it doesn't make sense. And I think all those other people should be charged because this was a conspiracy to defraud. This wasn't just one person doing this to be crazy, right? This was a conspiracy. The fake parents called the school to continue the fraud, right? To continue fooling the state to make them believe that this person was still a young adult going to this school. So I don't know how they avoid any charges or whatever, but we'll see. Now, the police believe that this woman, Hewitt, was also involved in other crimes, so they arraigned her again on more charges.
We're learning new information about the woman accused of pretending to be a student at 3 different high schools in Boston. As WBZ's Christina Rex reports, investigators believe she may have been involved in other crimes.
Prosecutors allege Hewitt used her position as a social worker with the Department of Children and Families to instead create a fake identity as a teen in DCF custody, with fake emails, documents, and phone numbers used to enroll in school.
This intricate but false narrative of being an extremely traumatized child with significant special educational needs and emotional needs.
In reality, she's a 32-year-old with several degrees. This 2016 UMass commencement program shows her master's degree is in school counseling.
This is clearly a mental health case.
Hewitt's attorney says she has serious mental health issues and is in treatment. And he believes the focus should be on Boston Public Schools and how his client slipped through the cracks.
So we have a woman who forged all these documents, pretended to be a young girl, goes and makes friends at these particular high schools and middle schools, has this elaborate scheme with multiple players helping her do this. If I wasn't a more cautious man, I would believe this seemed to me, again, I have no evidence of this, so this is just me pontificating. I want to make it very clear. This seemed like a grooming operation. You get somebody in there, they're acting crazy, they're grooming, they're getting sympathy from the kids. She's befriending all of them, right? You have 2 or 3 friends. Oh, we really liked her. She was our friend. We didn't believe that she was 32 years old. We thought she was 16, 15, 16 like us, right? You got the condo parents involved, you got the other social workers involved. It just seems too elaborate just to be like, one crazy woman just did all this on her own. I am not convinced that she was acting alone and it was all mental health issues. If that's what her lawyer's trying to portray, he's fighting an uphill battle. I don't think anybody's going to believe that. I think they need to really figure out what was going on here because I think success breeds repetition. And I think if this is the first time something like this happened, then, maybe this was just a test run, but this was so detailed and so involved. I just don't think that this is just some woman who came up with this idea and was just doing it because she has mental health issues. I just don't believe that. But I could be wrong. Tell me where I'm wrong in the comment section. Tell me if you think that I'm just off base with my beliefs. But it's just too much going on here. Too many people, too much going on. I just don't get it. But like I said, sometimes trying to understand someone who's crazy makes you crazy instead. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, do all that great YouTube stuff. Tell me what you think about this story. My name is Nate the Lawyer, and I'll see you next one. Peace.